Three Grots in a Vox is intended for a mature audience. This means there will be crude language and discussions of adult themes, especially if we're talking about tactical marines or Gabriel Seth. Viewer discretion is not only advised but encouraged. All opinions are our own and often given for humorous purposes. Any advice is given largely for entertainment purposes and would probably be ignored. But if you do learn something useful, count it as a win.
So, hello and welcome to this new episode of Three Grots in a Vox, talking about Chaos Space Marines, which, fair disclaimer straight away, this is not in any way, shape or form going to be colossally informative or competitive or even probably very good, because I've never done Chaos before in my life. I've never given a flying fuck about Chaos. I've never cared about them in the slightest. I've always been beaten by them. I've always been sort of like more of a good guy and going for the factions that are like sort of trying to make the world a better place and galaxy a better place and all this sort of shit. So yeah, but now I've got Codex Chaos Space Marines and I've been going through it for the past few weeks, and here are my thoughts and views on how you could get started with it and maybe give you some tips and
fair
ideas.
Warning, my Chaos Army might be a little bit out of date. I did have a Chaos Army. It was all Khorne Berserkers and then Khan the Betrayer.
The really annoying part is in reading this and getting to know it, I want to spend some money on them now.
They look cool, don't they? Yeah, the other thing is that Mark knows everything about this and John and I know fuck all.
I have one game against the Chaos Space Marine Codex and it felt like they were strong.
I don't know everything. Far from it. I've read through it once. I've read everything once. So, I don't know, maybe 20, 30% of it is stuck in my head. Whatever. The book's in front of me. So I'll be able to be
to quote Clerks, I'm not even supposed to be here today.
That's very
It's
true.
supposed to be a John and Mark episode, but I've managed to squeeze in at the last minute.
Yeah,
but importantly, beer time.
Yeah.
Look at this weird looking thing. So this is a bottle of Le Chouffe.
That sounds like
it's a Belgian blonde.
That's like the guy out of James Bond, isn't it? He was the baddie in... Oh, Le Chouffe. Okay, fair enough.
But he was Belgian as well, wasn't he?
Which Bond movie was that?
Played by Mads Mikkelsen.
The new version
Casino
of
Royale.
Casino Royale.
Yeah.
Mads Mikkelsen's such a good actor. Got all the time in the world for him. He's really cool.
This is mega strong. This is like 8%.
Yeah, fair enough. I've got this that I'm going to be chugging a little bit on every now and then throughout the stream.
Out of
I feel like it. Yeah, because why not? Should you not? Is it a massive problem?
Just mental looking bottle.
Whatever. 6% cider from when I was on holiday down in Cornwall a couple of months ago.
Funky bottle.
Yeah, that's sort of what I thought. I'm going to down it, drink it, and then not down it, drink it. I'm going to, when it's finished, I'm going to reuse it as a prop for 40k roleplay and stuff. Just carry it around with random shit inside.
This beer is lively. It's currently growing out of my glass.
Okay. So it's going to be a while before you can drink it.
Yeah. It's only half a cup. It's like that much in the bottom of the cup, and then it's just like it was down there. There wasn't any head, and then the head's just suddenly appeared, and it's still growing.
Nice.
I'm not going to make any comments about that because that's far too easy to target.
Wow, look at the white going down the sides.
Oh yeah.
I'm
not going to go until you've had an actual taste and can tell us what it tastes like.
Foam.
I was going to say, I saw a picture like that on social media of one of my friends that was in like Holland, and he just said, I'd like to report a crime, and he sent a photo of the beer like that, and I guess the crime is that in the continent they put that much of a head on your beer, and it's just like, lovely.
Everybody likes a bit of head.
They do.
Not too
okay,
much.
cheers.
Just leave that hanging there. Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's talk chaos, shall we? This stream has already descended into chaos, so it seems appropriate.
Descended started in chaos, didn't it? We were talking about Commodore 64s for the first 5 minutes before we realised we had to start recording.
Go back and talk about other bullshit, but no idea if people want to hear it or not. But then again, if you're watching this, you probably know what you're getting into by now.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Yeah.
Welcome to our bollocks. Right. So, first one.
No, don't say that because then, stay away from my bollocks.
Your frothy head is okay, though.
Frothy head is fine. Actually, this is quite nice. Very strong.
I haven't watched the whole episode of you guys yet from last week. Is it PG-13 or did it quickly descend?
We were vaguely sensible, I think.
We were. I mean, it was full of swear words, but it
was a lot of swearing in there.
Yeah,
we might have paraphrased a few bits as well.
Just a few, one or two here and there. It like
Condensed it
alternates
down.
between a bit of Tony monologue, bit of me monologue, bit of Tony monologue. I interrupt, back to Tony monologue for a bit, then I monologue for a bit.
There's actually really nice comments on that video. I'm going to watch it.
Awesome. Maybe you'll learn something. Apparently, some people learn something from it, which is,
Amazing.
disgusting,
There's so many
but-
better lore channels than our one.
You are
Vaguely
underselling yourself.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you. If you enjoyed it last week, then please do tell us, and maybe we'll
We'll do another one.
know
I don't
enough
what we'll talk
about something else to do. God knows what else we'll know about, even vaguely. But hey, there we go. Chaos Space Marines is an army that you can buy and play in Warhammer 40k. What sort of an army is it? Overall, it's got an army with fantastic fucking metal artwork, hasn't it?
It's got mixed quality metal artwork. Some of it is spectacular.
It's like skulls and blood and rage against the machine and sort of things going on, which you got to respect,
It's
really,
got
haven't you?
quite a bit of 80s influence in it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the older one that was a bit more 80s. They've tried to make them a bit more edgy and cool now, whereas I like just skulls for days. Like skulls for the sake of skulls.
Only some of them are slightly less edgy. A lot of them are still skulls for days. I mean, you bring in Primaris and try to make them all more copyrightable and a lot more clean and all this sort of stuff. Chaos have still got all the old bollocks and all a whole load of new stuff in there as well, and it's all crazy and skull covered and weird and strange. To play
You
them,
could run your car on this.
is it? How does it actually taste? Have you got to taste any of it yet?
It's nice. It's got a nice flavour, but it is, you know, when you're like, this is a lovely flavour, but you can taste the booze.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Got a certain battery acid tang, has it?
there's just that little tang of. I'm sure I used to have taste buds.
If you want to play the bad guys, if you want to play the people who literally just want to watch the galaxy burn, raise it all, destroy everything, and don't really give a care about making things be
Then
better,
you should
or anything
play
like that,
Tau.
screw you all, then you could either play Tau or you could play Chaos Space Marines, who are the ultimate and original bad guys of the setting. So that's definite flavour and feel to the whole codex. As an army, as a general sort of overview of them, they mix small elite units of like Terminators and the Legionaries and Possessed and Warp Talons and so on, which hit really, really hard but come in small units and cost a lot of points, with massive blobs of 20 cultists who are 5 points a model. 100 points for 20 models. Toughness 3, 1 wound. You don't just have huge blobs of throwaway shit to fill the board, and a few expensive units that are actually going to do the damage and work for you.
Are they any good, the cultists in this edition, or are they like things like Zangors and that for Thousand Suns? Basically worthless.
They're utter tat. They're complete crap, but you can boost them up in a few ways.
Do they interact properly though? Because that's some of the problems with some of the other like Death Guard and Thousand Suns, is they've got these chaff units that you want to use for doing actions, but the way they interact actually ends up buggering up the rest of your army a little bit.
They can do it. There's no reason why they can't. They'll die pretty easily to a stiff wind, as you might expect. But you can, for 50 points for a squad of 10 men, it's kind of hard not to just like fill up your troops with those if you just want to take mandatory troops.
I was going to say
They
they're
don't break any rules or
they're
No,
actions or something.
they're OBSEC as well, right? The cultists.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
are fully OBSEC troops. They can do all the action stuff. The way Chaos Space Marines buffs things is they kind of split their buffs into different types. So things can buff core stuff, which is generally Chaos Space Marines and related Chaos Space Marine type units, like the Bikers and Jump Pack units and Hellbrutes, which are your Dreadnoughts and whatnot. There are things that can buff cultists, because not everything can buff cultists, because they're generally shit and therefore beneath your notice. And anything that could buff Space Marines and buff cultists in the same way might be a bit overpowered. Then you got demon kin, who are like possessed or half demon, half human, or fully demon related things. And then you've got demon engines, which are machines possessed by demons. And buffs can either buff one of those rough 4 types or any combination of them within there. Oh, characters as well, but yeah, characters can be of those sort of subtypes.
Have they got any ways of buffing vehicles, like proper vehicles? I'm thinking tanks and...
Yeah, they've got a
Whatnot.
whole little subset. So your Lord Discordant is kind of like a tech marine on a giant mecha spider. And then you've got warsmiths and so on who are also tech marines with mecha tendrils and stuff. So they can generally buff their own
Because of
vehicles
course
if
that's
you want
something
to
that
build
Space
for it.
Marines struggle a little bit when it comes to buffing their. You've got your Tech Marine can give 1+1 hit and heal it a bit, but that's about it really.
Yeah. Well, I can have a quick look into that if you want.
I was going to say I have seen a new tech. What was the name of the tech marine for Chaos?
It's a Warsmith.
Warsmith. Yeah, there's a cool new model they just put out of that,
Warpsmith.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it came in the box set with Eldar at the start of the year.
I might have bought that. You bought like 3 of them, didn't you?
I bought 2 of them, yeah, and managed to offload the Chaos ones, which I'm kind of regretting now, but there you go. So your Warpsmith can repair a friendly Legion vehicle within 3 inches of it for D3 wounds, and it can enrage machine spirits, which will enrage a friendly Legion vehicle within 3 inches. That adds 1 to its hit roll when it makes ranged attack.
Okay, so it's
Same as
identical.
Yeah. Then you've got your Lord Discordant, who's the sort of really heavy metal tech marine type guy
It's an
riding a
ace
giant
model.
mecha spider type guy. And he can corrupt enemy machine spirits through tendrils that corrupt an enemy vehicle within 9 inches that does a number of mortal wounds equal to the number of 6s you roll on. I'll rephrase that. Let's say you attack a 9 wound enemy vehicle. You roll 9d6, and for each 6, it takes a mortal wound, up to a maximum of 6.
Ooh.
Which is
Top
pretty
of
tasty.
his attacks.
Yeah, it's a special ability it does in its command phase. So you've got to be within 9 inches of an enemy vehicle in your command phase, which might be a bit tricky to pull off.
But when it does, it could.
Yeah. Or
Can it happen to multiple vehicles, or is that only just the one?
it's just the one per turn.
Well, thank fuck for that.
You can either corrupt an enemy one, doing that, or you corrupt a friendly one, which adds +1 to its melee attack hit rolls.
Oh, nice.
And finally, it's got an ability called Spirit Thief that says when you destroy one or more enemy vehicles in a melee attack, then until the end of the battle, the unit can do corrupt machine spirits twice in your command phase.
Oh, cool.
That's not overpowered, but it's quite fun, isn't it?
Yeah, as you suck out the machine spirit from an enemy vehicle and use it to empower your own stuff. There's an Alpha Legion stratagem as well, which I saw, that says that they've been around your supplies and depots pre-game, bombed everything, so that whenever you kill a vehicle, spend a CP, and it just blows up.
I did see that.
There's no roll for it. It explodes.
That looked awesome. You should blow up your opponent's vehicles.
Yeah. Which I thought was pretty cool. It costs more CP based on how big they are, but that's fine. Anyway, moving on, so I'm not on this one bullet point forever.
Yep.
Demonkin units, they tend to punch pretty hard. So these are things like possessed Chaos Space Marines, Warp Talons, which are possessed Chaos Space Marines with jump packs and lightning claws, Obliterators, which are possessed Chaos Space Marines, which form guns out of their arms and different guns and have attack you with power fists and all this sort of stuff. They're pretty tasty. They're generally quite tough. Another subset of units that I've just gone backward. That's not good.
There's another question about that. Did Mutilators go, and you've only got Obliterators now?
There are only Obliterators. Mutilators, I don't think are in.
Because you used to have the close combat variant and the shooty variant, and they were split into 2.
You may be right. I don't think there are Mutilators in here. There are definitely Obliterators, and Obliterators definitely punch and shoot.
Yeah, so it sounds like they've just sort of blended them together.
Which makes sense. And Obliterators are like 100 points per Obliterator and come in a unit size of 1 to 3.
They're nasty in shooting. It's like they can get like D3 shots at strength 10 or something.
So you've got 3 different profiles. You can choose which one you want to use from turn to turn as their guns morph and shift and change. One of them they're all 24 inches. One of them is heavy D3, strength 9, -3, 4 damage. The middle one is heavy D3 +3 shots, strength 7, -2, 2 damage. And the Daka one is heavy D6 +9 shots, strength 5, -1, 1 damage.
I love how the newer codexes are getting multiple profiles on weapons and stuff like that. It makes me so jealous as a Bloody Nose player.
Oh, yeah. They can move and shoot without suffering a minus to hit, as you would do with heavy weapons. They can shoot while in engagement range, like a vehicle could, like a tank could, but they take -1 to do so. So yeah, Blit Ray is fairly nasty, just like a lot of the other demon canutes. Demon engines are vehicles or metallics, synthetics of some kind that have been possessed by a demon. So you've got your Mauler Fiend, your Forge Fiend, your Venom Crawler. A Dreadnought, or Hellbrute as they're called in Chaos Space Marines, is a demon engine. And they're pretty tough and nasty on the whole.
Is it quite a thick codex?
So if you imagine this is Codex Space Marines with a supplement built in it for 8 sub-factions, it's a huge book.
Okay. It seemed like there was a lot of rules when I played against it.
Yeah. There's a lot of lovely art, there's a lot of fluff, a lot of pictures in it, and a shit ton of rules. There's so many rules. You can largely ignore most of the faction-based stuff and just go through the meat and potatoes of the stratagems, warlords, relics, data sheets, and then figure out all the faction stuff on top of it based on what flavour you want to do. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here. And each of the factions gets like their own page of stratagems and page of warlord traits and relics, so they're not hard done by. They get a decent amount of stuff in here. Chaos Space Marines have doctrines, but not doctrines. Doctrines for Space Marines are extra AP. Doctrines for the Chaos are exploding sixes that vary from turn to turn, and they're not called doctrines, they're called wanton stuff, essentially. So in the early stages of the battle, you would be in I can't never remember what the order is.
Is it like wanton destruction in Shadow Warrior?
Yeah. So you get wanton destruction, which applies in turn 1, and that's heavy rapid fire or grenades, and a 6 explodes. 6 to hit explode. Unmodified roll of 6 to hit. Wanton massacre is in turn 2. That's your tactical doctrine thing, and that is exploding 6 to hit for a rapid fire assault or pistol. So the weapon types it applies to are slightly different compared to Space Marines. In turn 3, you can be in massacre or slaughter. And slaughter is the assault doctrine alike. And that is exploding 6 to hit for assault, pistol, or melee. And in turns 4 or 5, you've got to be in wanton slaughter regardless.
Is it spelt, though, like classic Shadow Warrior? Or is it spelt... How do they spell wanton?
Wanton.
Yeah, rubbish. No, we don't want that. We want wanton destruction, like in that classic 90s video game.
All right. Well, if you like that, then this has been coined by another YouTube channel somewhere else, and I like it. So there are various abilities that can put a unit into all 3 things at once.
Yeah.
And that is obviously the Wanton Soup.
Wanton Soup, yes. Knew that was coming.
That tickled me.
They missed the trick. Why didn't they? If they were gonna call it, then somebody there definitely played that old 3D Realms shooter and thought this will be funny, and then someone's gone in there and spell corrected it.
Yeah.
You know, they've employed a Mark who doesn't like it when people misspell things. And he's fixed it.
One can only hope. People have been praying for GW to employ Nedis for years, God knows.
Oh, yeah.
So that's your doctrines. Generally speaking, cultists don't get them, but they can be granted them for short times with various abilities.
Do you care about cultists having it, though? You know, it's like, woo, I've got an extra shot with this auto gun.
For 100 points, you'd have 20 shots with exploding 6 to hit.
Yeah, so you're going to get, what, 3 extra auto gun hits? No, sorry, yeah, 3 extra auto gun hits. Wow.
Yeah, maybe not.
I think I prefer that to additional point of AP. It's hard to figure out where the balance lies, isn't it?
You can always count on what an AP will do, whereas exploding 6s...
It's random. Sometimes you get a million hits out of it. It's like the problem with Flesh Terrors is that kind of like you might roll a load of 6s and then absolutely melt something, or you've just rolled loads of 4s and 5s and you haven't got anything out of it.
There is that.
True.
Chaos Space Marines as an army don't have overwhelming shooting firepower. It's just not who they are. They got some shooting ability, and it's not half bad. It's just not like Tower Eldar, where it defines their army. It's Space Marines in that regard. They've got some powerful shooting, but it's not the definition of who or what they are. They can have quite a lot of psychers. This is not just in the characters. So you can have Chaos Sorcerers and Chaos Mass Obsession, which are 2 different character psychers. they've got two different psychic trees, Malefic and something else. Malefic tends to affect demon stuff, and the other one tends to affect more general units. Every legionary squad, which is the term for your basic Chaos Space Marine, can take an upgrade called a Balefire Tome or something for 30 odd points. And that turns one model in the unit into a Psyker. And they can have a spell. So if you want, you can have three 5-man squads of Chaos Space Marines as your troops, and each one of them is a Psyker.
It's a bit like Rubric Marines, I guess, right?
Yeah. I was watching Tabletop Tactics the other day, and they were talking about because they've got this new competitive league going on. One of the guys there is playing with the Chaos Space Marines, and that's what he's done. He's given all three of his troops choices in his battalion that upgrade, because that gives him 3 denies.
Yeah. And
3 of those for, I think it was 30 points, he said, or whatever, 20 or 30 points each, is cheaper than buying an actual Psyker, and he's now got 3 denies in his army. Yeah. And mortal wounds can fuck up.
Yeah, they can all
I think he's playing Iron Warriors.
They can all do options for Psychic Interrogation or Warp Ritual. They can only have a choice of one of 3 different psychic powers, so they're limited in the actual powers they can have aside from Snite. But almost all of your Chaos Space Marine units can be given a mark of Chaos, which can be either Khorne-flavoured or Tzeentch or Nurgle or Slaanesh. And depending on which mark you buy, as long as it's not Khorne, because Khorne hates Psykers, you get an extra psychic power on top, which for Tzeentch can be grant you a 4-up into unsave. For Nurgle, it's -1 to be hit as you're surrounded by a cloud of flies. And Slaanesh is, I think, 5-up feel no pain.
So, excuse my complete ignorance then.
Yep.
If I was going to play Chaos Space Marines and I was going to line myself to Tzeentch, is there anything then that crosses with the Thousand Suns army book or stuff like that? How does that
There are rules that allow you to take the special base unit from Thousand Suns, which are the rubrics, I think.
Yeah, it would be the rubrics.
Or Plague Marines or Berserkers in this army list. You lose a few keywords here and there, and you get some extra restrictions for bringing them in your army, but you can bring them in. And that's all that it allows you to do, really.
Yeah, you can't bring all the special stuff in.
Yeah.
No, you can just... And so you couldn't bring in a named character, you could just bring in a bunch of Rubric Marines.
And the lore along that is along the lines of Abaddon leads the Black Legion, and the Black Legion isn't just the Sons of Horus renamed these days. It's everybody in Chaos Space Marines who wants to work for Abaddon.
Okay.
And will accept his rule, and so it can be
squads.
Got no arms. And it can be squads. That was a shit model. That really was. And it can be squads of Chaos Space Marines from all the different legions, all the different types, working as part of the Black Legion these days. So that's how they justify it.
Yeah, and you've got to remember that not everybody associated with Tzeentch is a Thousand Sun.
No, that's true. I think I just have an excitement around rubrics, because rubrics were good anyway, and then with Armor of Contempt, I guess against -1 damage, against 1 damage weapons, they're
everybody in the army is 2-up with Armor of Contempt.
Chaos Space Marines as an army does have Armor of Contempt as well, of course, if that wasn't already playing. The only downside to doing so, if you want to include those special units, is the rules for them are not in this book.
Okay.
If you want Rubric Marines, you need Chaos Space Marines and you need the Thousand Suns book, or to have done dodgy things that involve piracy that we do not in any way, shape, or form condone.
I was going to say, the amount of times somebody asks, hey, I bought the Blood Angel Codex and I can't find the Red Thirst rule. It's just the same thing. It's
I was excited when they rolled. Then they rolled them in, and they said it means only got to update 1 book and it will update. But it was easier when you just had this is your Codex.
Yeah,
Codex Blood Angels. That's all you need.
In a way, I can see pros and cons for both approaches.
Yeah,
to be fair.
It swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah.
The final point that defines the Chaos Space Marines army, as I read it, which I must stress again, I'm not an expert. If there's a problem with this, then tough. This is just my reading of it as from the first reading of Chaos Space Marines, is if you want to build for it, they can punch really smegging hard in melee. They can smack the crap out of you if they take the right units for it and build for it.
Yeah, when I run into Brett's Berserkers, they don't get to fight twice now, which was so arguably a little bit weaker, but there's so much strength and stuff.
If you want
so
to build,
many attacks.
Berserkers Light out of a basic squad of Chaos Space Marines, you give them the Mark of Khorne. You give them a Chaos Icon, you give them chain swords, and they'll blend things quite happily for fairly cheap.
Yeah. It seemed. I did win against Brett, but I think it was the first time he was playing that new codex, and I was just like, oh my god, he has so many good stratagems, and his units are so strong.
Khorne hasn't even got their codex yet. They're using White Dwarf stuff.
White Dwarf codex,
which by reports isn't that great, but I'm sure when the Codex and Angron himself comes along,
I don't like that model.
Pretty tasty.
I don't like Angron.
I reserve judgment. I thought a lot of models looked bad the first time I saw them, but when you see them in 3D,
it's not that it looks bad. It's that it doesn't look like Angron. Because Angron, I know he's a Demon Prince now, is Angron, if you know what I mean. You've got the Forge World model, you've got the art, you've got this. The new Angron just looks like a Bloodthirster.
Speaking of Angron, Book 7 of Siege of Terror coming out for pre-order soon.
I know, it looks so nice. There's no way I'm going to get that special edition. I'm going to try.
I'm going to have to read the last 2 books soon, so I can actually read about Sanguinius single-handedly holding the Eternity Gate. Oh well.
Here's a question.
Anyway, I just thought the new model just looked a bit boring. It just looks like a Bloodthirster, and I thought if you're going to do Angron, at least make him, look a bit special. It's got one shoulder pad that's a World Eater's one. Other than that, it's just a Bloodthirster.
He might do. We've seen one picture of him from one angle.
I was going to say how is it that the books decide? Like, obviously the books go on pre-order in the mornings, and people snap them up in seconds.
Yeah.
Do they ever reprint? Not even not the collector's editions. Do they ever reprint the paperbacks when they're out of stock as well? Sometimes.
Yeah. Depends how well it's doing and various different things.
I mean, I'm going to order it on an ebook. I don't care. I'll get it on.
I'll get it on Audible anyway. But I would like that special edition one. It just looks like such a nice.
It does look very Blood Angels-y and pretty. It's true, but I've had my special edition Blood Angels book for the year, so. That'll do me.
Oh, you're only getting the one. I loved your unboxing video of that. That's like one of the best videos that we did, just because everyone.
Yeah, it's got one of the highest view counts.
God knows why.
Of anything we've done.
Fair play. Thanks. Cheers, everybody who watched it and appreciated it.
I think it's because everybody probably watched it because we were all like me. We had one in our basket, and by the time we got to the checkout, they were sold out, and we're like, "Son of a bitch!" Like I had one in my basket at like 3 minutes to 10. I was in 2 minds because it's £50 for a book and it's a lot of money, and I literally took 1 minute to decide, and in the minute I decided, it sold out.
Sorry.
So no, I gotta open it through you, so maybe that's why I got so many views because everybody else was like fuck. And also, I would have actually been genuinely angry if because it sold out before 10. So People ask, hey, when do the books go on pre-order? And people say,
they always say 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
It's about 5-2.
Yeah,
that was 5-2 on the dot. Yeah.
That one. But that's real shitty for somebody that's, set an alarm for their phone to get it at 10 o'clock and they're already sold out.
The limited stock stuff, the fear of missing out.
Yeah,
I think the limited Black Library books are some of the few things that they still do that with these days.
They've sort of walked it back because people are getting so upset by the scalpers getting them all.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. If you want a soft copy of a softback, just like the regular paperback that's $8.99 of Dante or Devastation of Baal, they're on eBay for £100, and you won't get them cheaper than that. And that's an $8.99 book. It's ridiculous. Because I said to one of the guys, I was in Games Workshop when I was on holiday last week in Kendal, and they had on the store shelf they had a paperback copy of Darkness in the Blood, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to get that. And I said to my friend at work, I was like, I picked up Darkness in the Blood paperback because I would like it, and I would like it before it goes astronomically high. And he's like, do they go astronomically high? And I was like, well, Dante and the last one are both, you can't get them for less than £100. It's ridiculous.
Wow. Okay. So, I was talking about that on Discord with somebody earlier. Should we talk about it now? We spoke about it briefly on Discord previously, us guys deciding what to do with this. So I had a copy of Devastation of Baal before I got the limited edition one. A lovely little paperback one here that is now redundant and I don't need or want.
£99 on eBay, Mark. What are you doing?
No, we discussed this, didn't we? We decided what we were going to do with it.
Did we?
Yeah. Should we keep it a secret for a little bit while longer from you as well? Or
because John can't remember.
It sounds like people are going to tune in next week to see what's happening to this Devastation of Baal. I mean,
Not quite. We're going to give it away as a viewer reward for when we finally reach 1,000 subs on this channel, and sign it with all 3 of our names on the inside cover.
Well, that's a
Which
very
means
cool
I'm going to
idea.
have to get it round you two and get it signed at some point before we
Okay.
hit 1,000.
Well, okay, we've got ways to go, yeah. I'm not driving for like 300 miles to sign a book.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll post it up to you if it comes to it.
Yeah. That would
Yeah.
be cool.
That was a plan. Anyway,
We
we've
should
diverged.
write a Blood Angels book together. How about that?
Oh, God. That might be horrific.
It's
Might be
terrible
fun.
fan fiction.
Isn't there
It would just be TTS, but in book format.
Yeah, maybe. Isn't there a thing every year where they look for new Black Library authors?
They've done it with regularity for
couple
a
of
few
times,
years now. Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe we could have a Blood Angel story. And I mean, who better to pick to make up a Blood Angel story, huh?
What, than 3 unqualified people?
Blood Angels
who-
fans, yeah, exactly. Who better?
Rabid Blood Angel fanboys who are not in any way, shape, or form
Authors.
objective.
Yeah.
And starting with, in the first 2 pages, Dante, freshly crossing the Polaris Rubicon, comes out, heads to Terra. Yeah.
I was going to say, and Dante's axe becomes Mjolnir so he can throw it and get it back. There we go. How about that?
That's a bad idea. Let's
Tell
not
us
do
about
this.
some pieces of filth, Mark. We're going to be here forever.
Pieces of filth. Chaos Space Marine, pieces of filth. If you don't know what the first thing at the top of this list is going to be,
I
you've
do.
not been paying any attention to Chaos Space Marines at all since it came out. What's it going to be, John?
It's going to be Abaddon.
He's got no
Absolutely.
arms.
It's got to be Abaddon. Abaddon, the Despoiler, is a fucking beast these days, which is brilliant because he deserves to be.
How do you beat
Does he
Abaddon?
deserve to be?
Yeah.
I mean, let's look at
he's the
this
vessel of all 4
objectively.
Chaos Gods.
But he's also had his ass kicked so many times throughout the years.
No. It's all
He's
part of the
failed
plan.
all of
It's
his
all
Black
part of the plan.
Crusades until
No.
recently they're like, oh no,
No.
we've made Abaddon such a failure. We've
That-
got to retcon everything.
That got retconned. That didn't happen. They were all a deliberate part of his plan to get to the 13th.
Yeah,
Black
even through the
Crusade,
Horus
where-
Heresy, he was an absolute douche and a bit of a wuss. But everyone kicks his ass, and then the Chaos Gods are just like, no, we can't have that. We'll teleport him away.
Doesn't matter. Now he's badass. Now he's one of the biggest badasses in the game.
He's
he
a
only-
tart.
He moves 6 inches?
He moves 6 inches. That's his only weakness, as far as I'm concerned. His mobility. He can teleport. He can deep strike, but he moves 6 inches.
Yeah, so you just kite him, run away from
Yeah.
him.
But,
Uh,
so even his Terminator armor's got like bonuses because he's some sort of golden child. Oh, we'll give him an extra inch because we can.
Probably because he's got bigger legs, because he's about the size of a Primarch these days. He doesn't degrade. He's got 9 wounds. He's weapon skill, ballistic skill 2 up, strength 6, toughness 6, 8 attacks base, leadership 11. He goes up to 11. Armor save 2 up, invulnerable 4 up, as you would expect, and he's phase capped at no more than 3 wounds in the same phase. Damage wise, he shoots with like a glorified storm bolter on the back of his claw, which is assault 4, 24-inch, strength 5 -1, 2 damage. Nothing massively special, but you don't take.
Why
it
does
for
his
shooting.
Storm Bolter get strength 5 as well?
Because it was Horus's storm bolter before it became Abaddon's. Maybe. I don't know. The claw itself, every time you attack with the claw, makes 2 hit rolls instead of 1, so that's 16 attacks. Strength user -4 AP, 1 damage. So that'll blend through fairly
-4.
well.
Good, yeah.
On a
Yeah.
claw, that's crazy.
His sword, Dracnian, the Demon's Sword, the Ender of Empires, which was discussed in the Blood Angels lore episode very
It was,
briefly
we talked
by
about
Tony. Yeah.
Because we don't quite know how it got from inside Ra Endemon into Abaddon's hand. Although
But
one
I'm
of the books we got to talk
sure
about, it
it's
was given
covered
it to
in one of
him.
the Black Region
Well, it hasn't been
related
yet.
Abaddon books.
It was given to him by a figure in gold. We know that.
No, I'm sure it's covered in one of the books that's there.
It's not any more detailed than that yet.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't read
Maybe a
it,
bit
so
more.
I couldn't say so. Anyway,
Yeah.
this sword, strength +3, so strength 9, -4 AP, 3 damage a hit, and every time you unmodified wound roll of 6, does D3 mortals on top of its normal damage, which is
And how many points is he again? Like 350?
300 points.
Or 300? Rock on.
Yep, he has all 4 chaos marks at once, which means if he charges, was charged, or heroically intervenes, he gets +1 strength in melee.
From the marker con.
Yep. Once per turn, the first saving throw he fails is damage 0.
Yeah.
From Zeech. Every time attack is made against him, if the strength is equal to his own toughness or at least double his own toughness, -1 to wound.
That's a weird worded one, right?
It's a very weird worded one. I don't know why they worded the Noga one that way, but they did. I just don't quite get it.
So
That
it's like
means then that he will never be. Well, it makes sense actually. If you think about it, it means that he's either wounded on a 5, a 4, or a 3. He's never wounded on a. He
2.
can never be wounded on a 2.
Well, they should have just said he can never be wounded on a 2, right? But yeah, sure. Okay.
And from Slanesh, he always fights first. If he starts the fight phase within engagement range of any units, he always fights first. So he can never fight last. If he's hit by a fight last effect, he fights as normal. So he's either fight first or fight normal. One of the two.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. If you compare him up against like Guilliman, I guess like Guilliman suffers from he's using last edition rules.
I've not finished.
Oh, go for it.
There's more. If the army is battle forged, he has to be your warlord. He's an agent of chaos, which is kind of like agent the Empire or Imperium, whatever. But otherwise, so that's cool. If a friendly chaos core unit is within 6 inches, they get +1 to charge and get to re-roll a hit roll of 1. In your command phase, he does chapter mastery type stuff where you select a friendly core or a heretic Astartes character, and they get to re-roll the hit rolls. And if they're Black Legion, they get to re-roll the wound rolls as well.
He's Black Legion, correct?
He is the
Black
Leader
Legion
of
the Black Legion.
So he can put that on himself to re-roll
He
hits
can
and wounds?
absolutely put that on himself to re-roll all hits and re-roll all wounds, yes.
So you can fish for 6s on your wound roll for shitloads of D3 mortals.
Yeah,
because most of the time, you said if he charges, he's going to be strength 10 on that sword anyway.
Yep.
So most of the time, he's going to be wounding on 2s or 3s.
Yep.
So if you feel confident about that and you'd like to try and get a few extra 6s for a bunch of mortals, then that's totally viable.
Finally, he also has 3 warlord traits, which has been recently clarified to only cost 1 CP as part of the warlord stratagem that gives you warlord trait.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 warlord traits. The first one is Eternal Vendetta. At the start of the first battle round, before the first turn begins, pick an enemy unit, and then until the end of the battle, while the rest of your army is within 6 inches of your warlord, each time a model within your army attacks an enemy unit, they get to re-roll to wound. So he basically points at a unit and goes, fuck you in particular.
Nice.
And everybody within 6 inches get re-rolls to wound to him.
Yeah. The second warlord trait is called Paragon of Hatred, which is on a totally different page, unhelpfully. So bear with me a second while I flip back to that one. Page 79, which is with the Black Legion stuff. Paragon of Hatred. He can re-roll all of his charge rolls. If he is within engagement range of an enemy unit, then every time he fights, until the fight is resolved, he gets +1 attack. Unless any of those enemy units are from the Imperium, in which case he gets +D3 attacks.
Nasty. Does he get his +1 to charge to himself as well?
Yeah.
So he's got +1 to charge with reroll charges, with an extra attack, or D3 attacks if they're Imperium.
And the final warlord trait.
Hang on, does his reroll wounds also work in melee?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the warlord trait one.
Yeah.
So if he goes in to an enemy unit that they picked at the beginning, so I don't know, whatever your Death Star unit is, you'll be re-rolling all hits, re-rolling all wounds with +1 to wound, with +1 to charge, with re-roll charging. And that's not just him, it's his buddies too.
And the final warlord trait is called Merciless Overseer. What this says is, in your command phase, select a friendly Black Legion unit within 6 inches of the warlord, which can, of course, be the warlord again. Until the start of your command phase, each time a model in the unit chosen makes an attack, they are considered to be in wanton soup.
Jesus Christ.
It really makes me jealous that
I mean,
some of these new characters, honestly.
He's freaking disgusting.
the only thing I'll say with this, because I have done a little bit of research, is that there's, if you don't take Abaddon, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, totally.
He's so good, and he's so well pointed for that incredible level of ability.
And he can fit seamlessly into any Chaos Space Marines
seamlessly
army.
into any Chaos Space Marines army. You are literally going, do you know what? I want my army to be worse, so I'm not going to bring Abaddon.
The other thing that I think about him is like he's just such a threat because you can't kill him without 3 phases.
Yeah.
I think the way you play him, if it was me, was I would put him in deep strike and I'd drop him right in the center of the board.
Or as close to it as you could get if you were screened out. Yeah, totally. Oh, that reminds me of the stratagem they've got. They've got a stratagem that says you can give it to a number of, I think it's like D3 units in your army. It's an Alpha Legion stratagem, and they all gain the infiltrate 12-inch deep strike denial bubble.
Oh, cool.
So if you give that to your blob of 20 cultists, it stretches across half the board.
Nice. Yeah,
anyway.
Yeah, Abaddon is filthy. Run away from him if you've got a fast army.
He's got to be at the top of the list, right there. Anyway, that's everything Abaddon does. He's disgusting. Be very afraid.
Yeah.
Next up, there's a stratagem called Tide of Traitors. Allows you to resurrect D3+3 dead cultists. You do it during the command phase. So you do it, you place them, you get a little bit of movement out of where you place them. Suddenly you're on an objective you weren't before. Oh, look, I'm now holding 1, 2, holding more than my opponent was.
That's mean. That's really mean.
Do you need to have any like apothecary equivalent near them to do this?
No, just
it's a strat. You play it. There's more.
Some cultists crawl out from under the woodwork and from behind the walls they were hiding from and join this mob of cultists.
Bloody hell.
Nice.
I know they're trash, but with OBSEC as well, that is
very
tasty. Powerful.
A next piece of filth that caught my attention is something called Contempt Over Caution. This allows one of your units to shoot into melee combat. On an attack roll of 1, one of your mates gets shot, but you're Chaos Space Marines. You don't give a shit about your mates.
Nice.
It tickled me. I like it. It's funny.
That's a cool.
If you're playing something like one of the more shooty legions, like Iron Warriors or something, so you're likely to have a lot of big guns, and you just swamp them in.
If you're shooting to combat and the combat involves a unit that your army cares about, even slightly, like Chaos Space Marines, it costs you 2 CP. If your enemies are only fighting some cultists, don't give a fuck about cultists. It only costs you 1 CP. That's nice.
So if you spend 2 CP, does that mean that you can't hit your own people or something?
If you spend 2 CP, it means you can do it against shooting into melee, where the friendly unit in melee is slightly more valuable than cultists.
But what delineates that? Do you pick that, or is it like Heretic Astartes?
Are they cultists? Are they not cultists?
Right, okay. So anything, if they're cultists, it costs 1 CP. If it's not cultists, it costs 2 CP. But you can still kill them.
Yes.
Shoot your own guys, yeah.
So you can still hit them, yeah. I wish Orcs had something like this. Orcs deserve it far more than anyone.
Yeah, they don't give a shit, do they?
There is a psychic power called Pact of Flesh. It is Warp Charge 5. If you succeed, you get to resurrect a dead model and heal D3 wounds off a model that has taken damage in that unit.
It's pretty darn.
Psychic power. Both effects, Warp Charge 5.
That's pretty darn powerful. Have they got any sort of upgrade, like the Chief Librarian upgrade for Marines to give them like a +1 to their casts?
Yeah, there's a few of them. One of the characters called Master Possession has got ability where you can sacrifice nearby models for D3 mortal wounds to gain +2 to cast. There's a type of unit called the Venom Thing, which is Venom Crawler, which is like a walking spider demon engine that's got its big bulbous thing behind it is a reservoir of demonic energy that gives all Legion Psychers within 9 inches +1 to cast. You can get a relic for +1 to cast. There's all sorts of ways you can stack these things if you want to.
Okay.
Which I think is quite cool. Chaos Spawn. 25 points a model. They are fast attack, They can't do actions because they're beasts. They are strength 5, toughness 5, 4 wounds, 5 up armor save. And if you don't kill them in one attack, they heal all their wounds back.
You can buff them as well. You can give them things like 4-up invuln saves and horrible things as well. And they're not awful in combat.
They're not amazing.
It's still random in combat.
So they've got 4 attacks. No, they're not random.
They're not. They got rid of all the randomness.
So they're 4 attacks. No, sorry, they're 4 wounds. They're 2d3 attacks. Strength 5, -2, 2 damage.
It's all right. For 25-point model.
Yeah, you can buy them in units of 1 as well, 1 to 5. The only downside with them is GW charges you 30 quid for 2 Chaos Spawn.
Yeah.
Which, frankly, with apologies, sod that. I mean, you can 3D print any old jank and it'd be a blob of tentacles and spikes, and you go, that's a Chaos Spawn.
If you're playing like demon-y, chaosy shit, you have loads of random crap lying around. Just stick it all together.
Yeah. In the sample lists I've put together, I haven't priced up Chaos Spawn because I don't consider Chaos Spawn worthy of being purchased. You'll have shit that you can say is a Chaos Spawn somewhere, and you can get it if you want it. It's not going to be a problem. You can just have offcuts from a 3D printed hodgepodge of melted crap and say, there's a Chaos Spawn. Job's done. Anyway, sorry.
Gelatinous cube.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Rant over. So when a unit declares an attack against it, once that unit finish making its attacks, if any Chaos Spawn have taken wounds and not died, they immediately heal to full.
Very nice.
Just stick them in the way, roadblock.
Yeah, very good roadblock.
And finally, their Land Raiders are toughness 9. Their Predators and Vindicators are toughness 8.
Well, our
Their
Predators
las
are toughness
cannons do d6 plus 2 damage.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's confusing. Their Land Raider is more points than ours, right?
8. No.
So
265, is it?
the Land Raider is...
It changed, didn't it? They updated it.
At least as of the Codex. 265 points. Yeah.
I think
This has
the
been
last
updated
points
indefinitely.
update, it did get updated. It's the same price as ours. Yeah.
I'll take your word for it. I don't know. I haven't got that information to hand. To be fair, it's probably on the app. I could look it up, but that doesn't exactly make for exciting video watching for our viewers.
But yeah, I mean, toughness 8
Space Marine Land
Predators.
Raider's 245, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was right. So you're 11 points more expensive. Sorry, not 11 points.
You're same price, eh?
20.
20 points more expensive. So you're getting
now.
plus 1 toughness, and your last cannons are getting plus 2 damage.
Yeah.
Paid 20 points for that, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
The Vindicators are slightly buffed as well, which I'm sure will make Tony happy, should that eventually roll over to Loyalist Space Marines.
yeah, they've got better shots now, haven't they?
So
Slightly more consistent.
Yeah, the Chaos Vindicators are heavy D3 plus 3 shots.
Yeah.
It's way better.
Strength 10 minus 4 D6 damage.
Oh, -4, so they got an extra point of AP and their D3 plus 3. They're just much more reliable, I guess. How many points on that Chaos Vindicator?
In the book, at least, a Chaos Vindicator is 130 points.
Same
Plus
price as
10.
the...
Plus 10 for the shield.
Yeah. I hope the Marine stuff gets that up. Like, I'd be happy to pay the extra points for the Marine stuff to be... I think that makes them a lot more viable. I mean, you've got 4 las cannons there on that Land Raider, right? So,
Yeah.
like, 4... That's an additional 8 damage every time you shoot. That's huge. That's well worth... you're paying basically 10 points for the toughness, and you're paying 10 points for 8 more damage every time you shoot. That's huge. It's huge.
No wrong.
Las
This is-
cannons at...
They're gone.
I was going to say last cannon is at D6 plus 2, because they did Cognus last cannons on AdMech at D3 plus 3,
there's
right?
double standards at play here. So if we take the Chaos Predator, for example, the las cannons for the twin las cannon on the turret are damage D6 plus 2.
Mhm.
The single las cannons on the side sponsons are regular las cannons for just D6 damage.
Okay, weird. That's going to be a nightmare to remember as well, is it?
That is just confusing, isn't it?
Is it almost like they've just changed twin link las cannons? Because that's what the Land Raider's got. It's got twin link
They've
las
called
cannons on
them
the side.
twin soul shatter las cannons.
Oh right, okay, they've given that a new name.
So yeah.
I'm jealous. I'd pay 20 more points. I think a T9 Land Raider sounds way more viable because, like, what, multi-meltas are only wounding on 5s? That's pretty big, you know?
And that reaction is the only reason why these have a bullet point on this sheet here. Just to see John complain about it.
Yeah. I think the Vindicator change needs to happen. They cost the same points as R1s,
10
and they
more
are
points.
just a little bit more reliable. But no, I think ours is 135, aren't they?
No, ours was 120 and theirs is 130. That's what Mark said. But yeah, 10 more points for one more AP and a much more reliable number of shots.
I think that's a more reliable. I'd take that. I like Vindicators anyway, and I think that's quite nice. I don't know how I feel about Toughness 8 Predators.
Well, the Predators are shit. They
They
don't
are
get any
shit,
play.
and I'm not thinking from a game perspective. I'm thinking from a storyline perspective. If the whole point of the Predator it was a lightweight, fast attack tank.
Vehicles have been sidelined steadily.
Do you know what I mean?
For
and
a while
it's like
now,
so putting a Predator up to Toughness 8. The point of it was that it was a lightweight tank. That's why it always had lower armor than like Lemon Russ and things like that. Now it's got the same armor as a Lemon Russ and more wounds, and that doesn't feel right from a. It's a lightweight, fast attack.
How many wounds has Russ got?
12.
This has got 11 for a Predator.
Oh, right. One less, but come on, Russ. It's about twice the size of it.
Fair enough.
It was either that or drop the Predators by like 30 more points, and for some reason they don't seem to want to drop Predators in points. I don't know why.
As I said earlier, this is far from all of the cheese or all of the filth in the Codex. This is a few choice points of note that struck me. Please don't take it as a be-all and end-all. Please don't take this as being my advice, what you should take as a competitive list. These are just funny, cool, filthy things that I thought.
Yeah, Land Raiders, even at toughness 9, with better las cannons, are still not good. They're not good in any way.
It'd be interesting to see a Land Raider spam in a modern Chaos Space Marines list.
Well, you just wouldn't do it because if you use its transport capacity, then you get it tied up and it has to stick those massive las cannons into Grots.
Plus, they've got much more interesting, heavy.
And if you want to use it as a shooting platform, then you take a better shooting platform,
which is probably going to be Obliterators.
Yeah, or a few people like Sicarans in them. They can work quite well, especially with Arm Warriors. Yeah. So they're still too schizophrenic. They don't know what they want to be. They're very expensive crap if they get too close transport, and then they're a very expensive, wasting a lot of their points value, not transport.
I think you're putting too much seriousness and thought into considering Land Raiders, to be honest.
Land Raiders are cool, but
how many cultists can you fit in a Land Raider?
Sorry?
How many cultists can you fit in a Land Raider?
I don't know if they can go in it, can they?
Let's have a look. Land Raider can transport 10 Legion infantry models. So it can take cultists. It can
the
take
cultists
10.
have the Legion keyword then?
Yeah, because that's the faction identifier.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if I thought that was Heretics. So it's Heretic Astartes gone? Or...
Heretic Astartes is the Chaos Space Marines identifier. Legion will be your Black Legion.
So Legion is
Alpha
just
Legion,
your
word
army
bearers.
one.
Yeah, like your chapter for regular Space Marine terms.
Okay.
So you can stick 10 cultists in it.
Yeah. For starting armies, I've used the Combat Patrol as a basis for writing a few 1,000-point lists just to see where you could start from, as well as putting in models that I think you would want to carry forward into 2,000 points armies as basis to grow where these armies could start from for a couple of flavors.
Okay.
And the first one I wrote was a Black Legion list. The models in here that is in the Combat Patrol is the Dark Apostle, which is like a chaplain. You get the 10 Legionaries, you get the Hellbrute for the Dreadnought, and you get the 5 Havocs, which means you need to buy separately 20 Cultists and Abaddon for this list.
Okay.
Abaddon's in here because it's a Black Legion list. You buy an Abaddon. I mean, that's just the way of it. It's kind of covered earlier in the piece of filth, really.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Apostles as chaplains. The Dark Disciples, they're two little mooks who follow him around, and as long as they're alive, he gets +1 to chant his litanies. So they go off on a 2 rather than a 3,
Oh, wow,
which is nice. Benediction of Darkness is a litany or prayer which, whilst active, gives units within 6 inches the benefits of light cover, which I thought would be fairly tasty to just put on a mob of 20 cultists and other people as they advance up the board to get within range of doing stuff.
Yeah.
The mob of 20 cultists is going to be a staple in most Chaos Space Marine lists one way or the other, so I consider that a fairly safe investment to put into a 1,000-point list, because they're just going to fill up the table and gum stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
Your Legionaries unit, I'll split them into 2 units of 5. One, a Psychic unit with Prescience, which you cast it on someone, they get +1 to hit for the turn, and a bunch of bolters just to do some shooting. The other squad of 5 Legionaries have got the Mark of Khorne and a Chaos Icon, and what that does is... that's the wrong page, Gromit. What that does is, each time a model in the unit makes a melee attack, if you were charged or performed a heroic intervention, you get +1 strength, which is nice.
Yep.
And because they've got a Chaos Icon, they also get increased AP by 1 every time they make a melee attack. So if you stack that with the wanton
Whatever
third
it is,
one, then you're doing exploding hits on 6s, +1 strength on the charge. Your chainswords are doing an extra point of AP on 5 models for 115 points. Each legionary has more attacks than you'd think, actually. Each legionary has... I apologise for
3,
not
isn't
being
it?
more on the board with these. They have 3 base attacks, and the champion has 4. So they'll have an extra one with their chainswords. And the tainted chain axe that the champion has got is a 2 damage chain axe.
Nice.
For
Good
5
number of
extra
base.
points.
I was going to say it's a good number of base attacks when you've got 6s that are exploding by default.
Yeah. Chain axe is +1 strength, -1 AP, base, 2 damage.
The one good thing about Black Legion, of course, is Blood Angels have a specific stratagem you can use when you are fighting Black Legion that you always forget about because you only have it for that one battle. But you have it, so remember it.
That's true. It's true.
Can you remember what it is, though?
It's reroll all hits and wounds, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah,
Something like
it's
that,
a
yeah.
very nice one.
Yeah.
It's very
definitely
powerful,
nice
but
when
it's
you're
so
gonna fight
situational.
Yeah. If you are fighting Black Legion, though, you can use that, and then you can use the Space Marine one, Death to the Traitors, I think.
Yeah.
So you can basically get rerolls one place and then rerolls hits and wounds elsewhere. I always forget to use the single rerolls when I'm fighting Death Guard, and it's actually really strong. Because it means that, like, if you have a Sanguinary Guard squad off on a flank or something, and normally if you run into like a Plague Burst Crawler or something, that can be very difficult to kill because of the -1 damage. So rerolling all your hits is huge.
Yeah, totally agree. Can't disagree in the slightest.
This army at 1,000 points seems like a very good starting spot.
The Hellbrute as a dreadnought. Well, the multi-melter does what a multi-melter does. The Power Scourge is 3 additional attacks when it fights. It's got 5 attacks base, so 8 attacks of the Power Scourge. It's like a bunch of chain tentacly whip things, essentially, that come off the arm.
What's the profile on the Scourge, sorry?
Profile on the Scourge is going to be hitting on Strength 7, -2 AP, 2 damage a hit.
Not bad, is it?
It's not bad.
For 8 attacks.
I'm not a big fan of the Hell. I know I love Dreadnoughts, but I'm not a fan of Space Marine Hellbrutes, Chaos Space Marine Hellbrutes. I still think they're just too slow.
It does have -1 damage. It's obviously got Armor of Contempt. The Mark of Tzeentch it has is just like the one that Abaddon has. So the first failed save this makes every turn, 0 damage, just adding to the Dreadnought's resilience.
So you do have to pay points for that Mark of Tzeentch, or you just get to choose one?
So each Mark of Khorne, Nurgle, Tzeentch, Slaanesh, whatever, they cost 15 points, no matter what you're putting them on. Except Abaddon, who's it's already baked into Abaddon's points cost because he's got all 4.
So is the Hellbrute only 110 points normally?
The Hellbrute is only 110 points. Well, I think the multi-melter's like a 5-point upgrade in there somewhere. The Hellbrute's dirt cheap.
It seems cheap compared to what we pay for Firstborn Dreadnoughts.
So Hellbrute is 105 points.
Bloody hell.
5 points for the multi-melter, 15 points for the Mark.
Strength 7, 8 wounds, is it? Toughness
Strength
7.
6, toughness 7, 8 wounds, 3 up armor.
Yeah.
It's just a dreadnought, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a dreadnought, but fucking 20 points cheaper for no reason.
Yeah.
Except it's a newer codex.
Yeah. They are a bit slow, and I just think that you're probably not going to get a lot of bang for your buck out of that Hellbrute.
1,000 points, it'll stomp up the field, it'll take a lot of firepower, it'll hit like a truck when it gets there, and it's included in the combat patrol.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right.
That's a good reason to take it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. They're not bad. I just don't. I'm not sure that they're like top. What you want to take for it, 2,000 points.
I wouldn't have chosen it if it wasn't in the combat patrol, but it is. So yeah.
I think I prefer for like what it does, like the Mauler Fiend, maybe.
I was going to say, starting an army though for £138.75
bad,
if you use our element link.
And also, those
in the
models
video
are so
description.
old.
Yeah.
I don't just mean the Hellbrute, but I've got a metal Chaos Dreadnought kicking around. They've been around for years. They're dirt cheap. They're all over the place. You can find them.
Yeah. But yeah, starting at £138 is very, very reasonable for 1,000 points, actually.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely not wrong. The Havocs are also included in the combat patrol. Those are essentially Chaos Space Marine Devastators, except they are toughness 5, 3 attack space.
5?
Because they are.
What did you say? 3 attack space?
3 attack space, toughness 5. And here's the interesting combo. I've given them all Reaper chain cannons. You don't get 4 chain cannons in the kit, so I've assumed a level of kit bashing or getting extra bits or something in there to outfit them with chain cannons, which is fine. Reaper chain cannons are
7 minus 2,
not stat
They're not
lined
great.
in this bloody thing here. They're heavy 8, essentially.
Yeah.
They're like miniguns. They don't hit hard.
They're like the Onslaught Gatling cannon.
Yeah. Reaper chain cannon is 24-inch, heavy 8, strength 5, -1/1 damage. But you're walking up the field next to Abaddon, getting full re-rolls to hit and full re-rolls to wound.
Yeah.
Those Havocs putting out a lot
Damage.
of firepower with that.
Yeah, that's very true.
4 times out 8 is what?
36.
32
32, sorry.
shots?
Yeah,
That's
32
not to be
shots.
sniffed at.
It's in wounds, yeah. It's
All
going to be
right.
very
I suppose when
reliable.
you're hitting re-rolling hits and wounds, have they not got anything with a bit of AP though? Because into Armour of Contempt, even 30 odd shots is.
So your other gun options are, you can give them las cannons if you want. You can give them Havoc auto cannons, which are heavy 2, strength 7, -2/2 damage. You can give them heavy bolters. Those are your or one weapon from the heavy
I
weapons
wouldn't give them.
list.
There's like literally no reason to give them heavy bolters over
You can
those.
give them
auto
missile
cannons.
launcher if you want to. Heavy bolter's got 3 shots. Autocannon's got 2.
No, I
and
mean
it's
the Onslaught Reaper auto cannon thing.
Yeah.
You know, the heavy bolter's got an extra point of damage, but it's got the same AP and less than half the shots.
Another reason why I went with the Reaper chain cannons as build for this is if you're in your wanton whatever the heavy doctrine is, exploding 6s. So
Yeah, it's a lot of extra hits, isn't it?
a lot of extra hits, all re-rolling to hits, re-rolling to wound, it'll stack up. It'll do some punch.
It's a mean list, Mark. Good job.
So that's the first one I come up with.
Yep.
The second one is Word Bearers with a slightly more psychic flavour. The Master of Possession, the Dark Apostle is exactly the same as he was before.
Yeah.
The Cultist is exactly the same as they were before. The Master of Possession is a psyker who does stuff for demons, essentially. I chose him because he's got a lot more psychic stuff. The Malefic Tome is a relic that allows him to do word bearer type stuff. I think it's, if off the top of my head, it's +1 to cast and an extra power. I think, let me just double check that so I can be sure. Word bearers, Malefic Tome, yeah, +1 to cast and an additional power from any of the disciplines he has access to. Demonic Whispers is the warlord trait he's got, which says whenever you chant a prayer or complete an action or do a psychic action or manifest a psychic power, roll a d6, and if the number you roll, if the result you roll is greater than the current battle round, get a CP, which is nice.
Very nice.
And the 3 powers he's got there are from the Malefic Discipline, which do some very interesting things. They'll synergize mostly with the Demonkin and Demonic Engine stuff in the list with it. So, what do we have there? We have Cursed Earth, which is a Warp Charge 7. Cast it on a Demonkin or Demon Engine within 6 inches of the Psyker.
Mm-hmm.
They gain 4 up Invan. And each time an enemy finishes a charge move within engagement range of that unit, roll a d6. On a 2 to 4, they take a mortal. On a 5, they take d3 mortals as the ground around the target unit sort of becomes cursed and nasty and stuff.
That's not bad.
Nice.
Mutated Invigoration, psychic power that you cast on a friendly Legion unit within 18 inches, Warp Charge 6, to give them either +1 strength or toughness until the start of your next turn, start your next psychic phase. However, if the unit you cast it on was a Demonkin or a Demon Engine, and you roll a 10 or more to cast, they get both strength and toughness.
Nice.
That's pretty chunky.
Yeah, especially if you're giving it to the Hellbrute or even the Possessed in the list with it as well. And finally, Pact of Flesh is that healing spell that I mentioned earlier, because why wouldn't you? It's great. The Legionaries in there are basically the same sort of Khorne rage monsters that I mentioned in the last list. The second squad of Legionaries in here are Psykers. These have got the Marker Tzeentch and a Chaos Icon as well. So that means, as well as Prescience for being able to cast +1 to hit, they get an extra psychic power called Skeins of Fate. You can cast it on a friendly Legion Tzeentch unit within 18 inches, and they get a 4 up Invan save.
So you've got a 4 up Invan set of Legionaries for 135 points.
Yeah, and that could go on anything with the Marker Tzeentch in the list.
I don't think you've got anything else.
Or the Hellbrute.
Oh, the Hellbrute as well, is it?
Yep.
Yes.
And they would shoot stuff otherwise and have a chain axe. That's nice. The Hellbrute is exactly the same as the last Hellbrute we looked at, except this time it can obviously be buffed by the powers from the Master Possession or the Legionaries.
Nice.
Possessed are the punchy unit in this list. They're a bunch of Demonkin. They're basically Chaos Space Marines that have got had their souls shunted aside and demons have taken them over and gone all psychotic and Rag and Rage Monster and so on. Possessed move 9 inches. They hit on 3s. Strength 5, Toughness 5, 3 wounds, 3 up armor save. They got 5 attacks base, 6 on the champion. And their attacks are strength user -2 damage.
Yeah, they're marine killers.
5 up Invan, 140 points, 9-inch move.
It's not bad, is it?
They'll shred things quite happily.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can buff them up like bugger as well.
They made a big deal about giving Marines 2 wounds, and then they just gave everything
Damage
to wound weapons. It's like, yeah. This is probably why sisters are rocking in the current meta, huh? Everyone's inefficient killing them.
It's going to be a part of it. And as Demonkin, they will benefit from the Master Possession's psychic powers if she wants to give them to them. There's a single Chaos Spawn in here because I had 25 points left over and I put it in there.
I don't think that's ever a bad choice to chuck in there.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
You just run it forward, sit on objective, be a roadblock, whatever. Be a throwaway. Yeah. And the Havocs are exactly the same Havocs as were in the Black Legion list because I think it makes sense to me.
Quite a cool squad, actually.
And again, that's a comparable sort of monetary price cost.
Yeah, it's about the same. Very nice.
The third one is an Alpha Legion list because I quite like the idea of Alpha Legion. One of the things I've always had a vague idea in my head to do is create a Chaos Space Marine army out of totally loyalist looking models and paint them as Alpha Legion because I'm sure other people have had that idea before and it just tickles me. You've got the Dark Apostle, the same as you did in other ones. You've got the Cultist Mobs, you've got the Legionaries, you've got the Hellbrute, and you've got the Havocs. Very similar builds as in the last 2 lists. However, the Dark Apostle in this one has got a few things that the other ones didn't because he's the Warlord, and there's a couple of things I could give him that you couldn't give non-Alpha Legion characters. The prayer in this one is the Hulk out prayer rather than the give cover stuff prayer.
Yep.
Which does slightly different stuff than it does within Loyalists. For the Chaos one, the Omen of Potency says, if this prayer is heard, get +3 attacks and +2 AP on all your melee weapons.
Ooh, that's not bad.
What, on a unit close by, or how?
It only works on the priest itself.
Oh, right, okay.
Okay.
So the priest just becomes a big
Bit of a
bunker
blender.
in combat.
Yeah. And it gets better because the 2 Alpha Legion Warlord traits and relic I gave it, very carefully chosen. The Clandestine Warlord trait gives you Trans Hitman.
So only hit on 4-up.
Yep. And whenever an attack is allocated, while you get the benefits of cover, get an extra +1 armor.
Very nice.
Yeah. And Dark Scale Plate, the relic he has, gives him Transhuman and an armor save of 2+.
So he's going to be very tanky.
So only hit on 4s, only wound on 4s, 2-up save, ignoring
With Armor of Contempt.
1 AP, and then if you're in cover, 0-up save.
Yeah.
Nice. You almost just want to throw him out in cover. Just be like,
Yeah.
shoot me, baby. Waste your
take
shots.
So, have you got any more of these, or is this your last
This
one?
is my last sample list.
What's
So
a cipher?
there's-
Sorry.
Cypher. This is a special character. He's
Cypher's
Edgelord himself.
Yeah, Cypher is the guy who was a Dark Angel, honest, I'm still loyal, but maybe not really.
He helped
Ooh.
Gilliman.
He did.
He was there, didn't he?
It's true.
And then Gilliman tried to arrest him because Gilliman's a dick and betrayed him.
And then
And
Cypher
he just went, "Yeah, come catch me if
magically
you can."
got out of jail because he's Cypher. Yeah.
You can't hold me.
Cypher's actually very interesting now in the new list. He's an agent of chaos, so he can fit in whatever list
Everywhere.
you want. If you've got a Chaos Lord in your army, then he doesn't take up a slot, which is fine. Chaos Lord is like Space Marine Captain, essentially.
Yeah.
He's got a 4-up Invern. He's got Trans Hitman. He can, once per battle at the end of any shooting phase or fight phase, just get picked up off the board and put in strategic reserves.
Yep.
So you can charge him in, fight, and at the end of the fight phase, he disappears. He can fall back and shoot. He can advance and shoot. And finally, anytime your opponent uses any rule that would allow them to generate CP, except for the normal one you get at the start of a turn,
Yep.
on a 4-up, he negates it.
Does he still have the rule that he used to have, which was when you killed him, you rolled a dice and he didn't die because the Chaos Gods whisked him off?
Nope. Everything I've just gone through are all the rules he has.
Oh, that was cool.
Okay.
It didn't affect normal games, but it did when you were playing for various victory points. He never counted as killed.
Yeah. He's
Because-
got his bolt pistol is pistol 6 and his plasma pistol is pistol 3
Nice.
and doesn't overcharge.
He's very
It's still
cool.
6 on a 90-point model. Okay.
Still a bolt pistol. We're not talking
It's
about...
strength 4 -1 damage. 18-inch range though, rather than 12. The plasma pistol is 12-inch range, strength 8 -3 2 damage. No
It doesn't
overcharging.
overcharge, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So there's another combo that I've been seeing a lot come up
Uh-huh.
that I really like properly like, and that is because we haven't talked about it, and someone's going to bring it up in the
Yeah, cool.
comments. The Black Rune of Damnation.
Okay.
So have you come across this one yet, Mark?
I've looked at it. I've seen it. I sort of glanced off it and didn't stick in my mind too much. Go for it.
So the Black Rune of Damnation. This relic can be given to a cultist model. Who gives a shit then? Each time an attack is made against the bearer's unit, subtract 1 from the attack's wound roll. Remember, this is shooting and melee. But who cares, right? The bearer has the following ability, Black Rune of Damnation aura. When an enemy psycho is within 18 inches, each time a psycho test is taken, that unit suffers the perils of war on a double. We
Yep.
still don't really care. It's not going to be doing it. Except that you can also take the CP Trophies of the Long War. Use this stratagem before battle when you're mustering your army. If your warlord has a Tratorus Astartes keyword, select 1 Tratorus Astartes model from your army, excluding characters as aspirant or champion. That model can have one of the following relics, blah 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 blah, including the Black Rune of Damnation.
Yep.
So the combo is you get because you've all seen the new Terminator boxes for Horus Heresy.
Yep.
Very reasonably priced. Bring 10. And you bring your 10 Terminators and you give them -1 to wound.
Very good.
And you've
isn't it?
now got in melee and shooting. So that means that if you're shooting anything up to strength 8, can only wound it on a 4.
Yep.
Anything less than strength 4 will only wound it on a 5. or up to including strength 5. And of course, Terminators, you can give, there's big stacks of buffs. You can make them so that you can -1 to hit. It's very easy to make. You've got a unit of Terminators with your 2 up. You can give them an invuln quite easily. You can give a good invuln quite easily. Give them -1 to hit and -1 to wound on a big brick of Terminators. You stick them in the middle and you say, "Come at me, bros."
On the
And they're
subject
not
of
even
Terminators,
expensive. The Terminators are really good.
if you're running Black Legion, there is a Terminator stratagem for 2 CP.
Yep.
That you select at the start of your opponent's fight phase. You pick Black Legion Chaos Terminator squad within 3 inches of one or more enemy units.
Yep.
They don't need to be in combat. They don't need to intervene, anything like that. You just spend it on them, and suddenly they are eligible to fight. You can choose them as a unit to fight with, so they can pile in, fight, and consolidate.
So,
and they get +1 attack.
Yeah. Terminators, even without the Black Rune, are incredible for Chaos Space Marines. And that box for about, I think you can get it for about £40 if you get one of the third-party retailers.
Specifically, we're talking the Horus Heresy box.
We're talking the Horus Heresy box of Terminators here. It's not expensive. You'll have 10 of them, and you can make them nigh on unkillable, and they're very killy themselves.
Yeah.
So they are a unit that is really worth your time investing in. Especially if you've done like I did and bought the Age of Darkness box set. You've got 10 Terminators flopping around.
Very true.
Thus concludes my look into Chaos Space Marines. Once again, this is not exhaustive. I'm not an expert in Chaos Space Marines. This is not going to help you win tournaments and stuff, but maybe it's a start. Maybe it gives you an idea of what they're capable of. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I do think at the moment Abaddon seems like a very good play.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's a bit overtuned.
He's a no-brainer. He's due a nerf one way or the other.
You can also build a ridiculous Lord Discordant as well.
You can
build a Lord. You can build a Lord. It's a Lord Discordant. You can build a Lord Discordant. I think on paper will hit harder than any other character in 40k.
Oh,
which is pretty bonkers if you give them the right combo of. I can't remember what the combo is, but it's bonkers. So they've got a couple of those. Now, what's interesting is they're really not storming the meta at the moment.
No.
Which I think is
why
great.
Is that?
Well, Abaddon is incredible.
But you can just run away from him.
You can just run away from him. The Lord Discordant is incredible. He's harder to run away from because he's a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And they've got some great units like that ridiculous Terminator squad of...
But it's a really big, complicated book full of many moving parts and ways to figure out how it all goes.
A lot of their stuff is good, but not amazing. It's like the Hellbrute. The Hellbrute is very cheap, but very slow. They're just not... Their secondaries are not really great. They're okay. So a combination of a few really good characters and some pretty good units, but with poor secondaries, means that they're sitting about probably where they should at the moment on the competitive. I
didn't mention the Warp Talons in this list.
You didn't mention the Warp Talons in this list, no?
I didn't. Do either of you know what Warp Talons are?
They're the jump pack possessed sort of things, aren't they?
Yeah, they're like the possessed Chaos Space Marines with jump packs. They move 12. They have 5 attacks base each. The champion has 6. And they've got lightning claws. So they're strength 4, -2 AP, 1 damage, full reroll to wound.
Is the fact that they've got lightning claws built into their
that's why they got 5
profile?
attacks. Yeah, it's part of why they got 5 anyway. Yeah,
they're quite a nice little thing.
Also, they got a 50 every time an enemy unit within engagement range tries to fall back, you roll off, and if you win the roll off, they can't fall back.
Nice. The other thing that I think is worth looking at, some of the legions are quite powerful. Black Legion are quite good. Word Bearers are quite good. I really like...
They're all good.
They're all not bad, apart from Night Lords, which are a bit sucky.
I strongly disagree.
Well, there's leadership shenanigans again.
Yeah, so -2 leadership, army-wide, coupled with a few other ways they've got of debuffing leadership.
They do, but...
They will make an impact.
It's one of those things that it will make an impact against some armies. But if you're building something to play against everybody... Let's say you're playing Custodes. I don't care.
Almost every army has got like leadership 7 stuff.
Or Necrons. I don't care. And of course, Necrons are incredibly prevalent at the moment.
Yeah.
So I just think they're a little bit... They're good against some armies, but not good against other ones.
That's fair to say, I think.
Sorry, John, I didn't catch that, mate.
I was just saying, that's fair to say, yeah. I mean, the Warp Talons as well feel like... I'm undecided with Lightning Claws. I guess into Armor of Contempt units. I don't like Lightning Claws anymore.
One thing I didn't said, which will give you a little bit of feedback into why I chose Warp Talons for this. Alpha Legion can all fall back and charge.
Yeah, I like Alpha Legion. Another one that we've not spoken about, and I just want to bring up, and it was Warp Talons that reminded me on this, is I'm a fan of the Iron Warriors.
Yeah.
They haven't got as much melee buffing. They've got a little bit of shooty buffy, which is okay, but I really like their Legion trait. I think it's really powerful.
So Iron Warriors get to ignore cover every time you make any
light
attack.
And dense.
And each time you allocate an attack to a model with this trait, you cannot re-roll the wound roll.
And that is quite powerful. You know, Lightning Claws. Oh well, you can't re-roll wounds against me. I've got re-roll Lieutenants, worthless. And I think that not being able to re-roll wounds against them and them ignoring cover can be quite nice, especially with things like you've got your Havocs there with your Reaper chain cannons. Yeah. Having them ignore cover can be quite powerful.
Across their Warlord traits, relics, and strats, they get a lot of buffs to vehicles and demon engines because they're a more heavy legion, as you'd expect.
So I think that they're...
There's so much versatility across the 8 different legions that this
and
book
they're all
has.
pretty good. Night Lords aren't that bad. I just think they're a little bit weaker than the others, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think they're bad. I just think that they're weaker if you're trying to build a competitive list.
They're not straight up killy. They're definitely more tricksy, but they're not necessarily bad.
It's the same with the Alpha Legion aren't particularly killy, but they're very tricksy. Mm-hmm. But I think that their tricks work against everybody.
That's fair enough.
Which I think is going to be quite useful. They've still got that bonkers I am Alfarius Warlord trait, which I love.
Yeah, it's great. They also don't have successor traits. There's no pick your own trait rules in this book. If you want to be a legion that isn't represented here, pick one of the legion's rules that is, use those rules and say you're a different one. We don't care. Yeah. We're not going to piss around with all
I really want that to come in for Space Marines. I know everyone's going, oh yeah, loads of versatility, and it's just more complexity that you just don't need. You know, I've still got a bit of a hate boner for strats. There's too many of them. Get rid of them. Just have like Nephilim with the secondary objectives. Put a set of strats, couple for each legion or whatever, couple for each army in the book. Everybody's got access. I haven't got to buy 19 codexes to read what every single army can do in a tournament.
To anybody who's tuned in for Tony's rant hour, please take a shot now.
Hang on, this is every week Tony's rant hour, isn't it?
It's fair.
That's all my Tuesday painting streams are. It's just me moaning for 2 hours and then I leave.
I like your painting streams. They're good. They're relaxing. They get stuff done. They provide good advice. Yeah. Please keep doing them.
Shady advice at times.
I look forward to them continuing once you've finished your house move.
Yeah. So if you're watching this, you would have noticed there wasn't a stream on Tuesday because I'm moving house. I should be already, so I'm in this empty room at the moment with a pair of headphones on.
It's a hard life.
It is.
You all right, John? You're being quiet? You get to talk now because you're up first.
Yay, my Storm Speeder.
Yuck.
You
haven't put R2D2 in his hole yet.
I'm going to say yuck because it's a Primaris model, yuck because
it's got a weird R2D2 in it.
Which version are you going to build it as?
I'm going to magnetize the weapons.
Okay.
I still think it's shit. I really do.
I want to try it with a squad of Eliminators with las fusils because I think that the Storm Speeder plus the las fusils will be the same cost as Leviathan Dreadnought, and obviously I won't need to pay a CP. It won't also use up an elite slot. And can one of these do well, I guess?
You gave my list so much shit for bringing that Leviathan.
I brought one recently.
I think they're all right. They're not good, but they're all right.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was going to be more survivable. Like, that was the thing I was wanting to see, is how survivable was Leviathan, but I think...
I know I'm saying that I'm going off on a tangent, and I am, but it's an interesting one. Because, we're saying about more survivable. Everybody at the moment is speccing into Armor of Contempt. Going, look, AP -1 is worthless. AP -2 is barely worth bringing. I need 3, 4, 5 AP. And one of the knock-on things that it's really doing at the moment is really hurting custodes. Because one of their big things was a lot of those lighter weight weapons that you'd bring to deal with hordes of stuff weren't
Like
very effective
cultists.
against them.
Yeah.
But now nobody's bringing them. Everybody's specking into Armour of Contempt, and the custodes are getting fucked because they haven't got Armour of Contempt,
It's an
and their
argument to
armor's
take.
becoming almost worthless.
It's an argument to take 0 AP or all the AP. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. And it's actually really hurting them as a faction at the moment. They're doing absolutely dog shit in competitive scene at the moment, which is
that's
interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Um,
I'm going to do a stream hopefully this Saturday because I was away for 2 weekends in a row. I had a wedding and then I went to Lake District for a week, so I feel like I've not streamed in ages. I'm going to try and get
this would
back
have been
to
last
streaming.
Saturday when people see this video.
Yeah, so I guess people have either watched it or they won't have watched it. But yeah, I'm going to magnetize the Storm Speeder. I think it'll be a fun unit to run.
So yeah, back to the Leviathan. I think that's why it's not seeming survivable at the moment. Because
Probably.
everyone's spec'd into Armour of Contempt, that 2-up armor save Leviathan that should be fairly survivable isn't quite as good as you think it should be because we're all bringing as much plasma as everyone can.
True. This has been a fun model to work on, and I think it'll be a cool centerpiece. I don't really have any Primaris vehicle. I mean, I've got an Impulsor, a Pulsar, but like they
It's
never
a
see
nicer
the table.
vehicle than the Impulsor. and the Repulsor.
How big is it compared to, say, a Rhino? Is it about the same sort of hull size?
It looks
I've
bigger in
got
the picture.
both. 1 second.
It looks because they are big, aren't they?
I don't know. They looked big to me, and honestly, the size that they are is kind of what put me off them. Because for me, land speeders should be small and speedy.
You're not
and
hiding
nippy
this
and
bugger, are
stuff,
you?
and
No, it's literally the same size as a
it's
Rhino.
the same size as a Rhino, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, by the time you stuck the guns on, it's going to be bigger than a Rhino.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It's not like the normal land speeders use them as throwaway, lightweight, hidey units. This isn't that. This is a fast gun platform.
Which is fair enough once you accept that's its role. But
yeah, I still reckon the Gladiator's not bad. I keep looking at Gladiators going.
When I was in the store, I was 50-50
50-50
between buying this and a Gladiator.
the Lancer one has still got my eye.
That's the same with me. The Lancer kind of. I could make that work. I bought a Vindicator Laser Destroyer.
Me too.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I did as well. I wanted some transfers for my
So you
bananas.
bought a new tank.
And I didn't get free shipping.
Oh, so you had to put the Vindicator into the basket to get free shipping because that £80 Vindicator saved you $4.99 shipping.
Vindicator.
You could have just driven up to Warhammer World and picked it up.
Not with these petrol prices. You've seen my car. It's not exactly the smallest thing in the world.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right. So John's been on holiday and has half built a Storm Speeder.
Nice.
Basically.
Yeah, that's it.
I think it's cool apart from R2-D2.
It'll be a fun project, I think.
Yeah.
Have you seen the ship they gave the Mandalorian at the arse end of the Boba Fett series?
I have, but I think Tony's behind on that.
I still haven't bought
Tony cares. Do you
Disney
care?
Plus.
Do you give a shit?
No.
I like that they used the R2-D2 spot as the Baby Yoda spot instead. I thought that was good.
That's
it was very obvious that was happening when they... Yeah.
But hey.
I genuinely was going to buy Disney Plus this summer, and then all the fucking about with me moving is just thrown
There's
away
a
out the
load
window.
of cheap deals at the round for first-time subscribers to get like a year for 20 quid or 25 quid or something.
If I can get it going and get my new internet and the new house, then I might pick it up because I wanted to this summer. It's just I've been too busy.
You like Predator, right? Prey is a great film. Prey is actually good.
We were talking about that on the stream the other day, and I got a very mixed review, and it was kind of half the people in the chat were like, "Prey's really good, you should watch it," and the other half were like, "It's the worst thing ever."
Which is good because the last thing you want from a film is meh. I don't really care, but a polarizing one, it's
quite
good one way or the
polarizing,
other.
which is not bad, is it?
I wanted to do some videos about talking about movies, so maybe we can do that sometime.
Do you know
Absolutely.
our 80s movies episode is still the lowest viewed episode we have ever made?
And it was still the most fun at the same time.
Absolutely the most fun. I'm going to dress as Jack Burton for the next one.
I still haven't watched The Thing.
You're going to
Still
watch
not
it when you
watched
come to Scotland, don't worry.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
Fine. All right.
I will do that, yeah.
So since the last episode, I finished my 1,000-point army. I took it to a one-day event. I got smashed versus orcs, and then I get even more smashed versus a Flying Hive Tyrant Tyrannid list with the Reaper of Obliterax relic that does mortal wounds every wound roll.
Fucking ridiculous.
And it was 35, 40 degrees inside this guy's garage where I was playing. And I thought, no, I'll take a bye for the last round. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I would say.
So you went home all salty because you lost your first 2 rounds and you were to what?
Slightly, yeah. Yeah, that's not an unfair description. I try not to be too salty, but I thought
it happens to
I thought I'd do a little bit better than that, to be honest.
But
although the orc list, the guy's orcs army that he brought was a beast snagger list with the giant orc kill rig being pulled by whatever they're called.
Cool model.
And the squig cavalry guys, and he painted them really well. It looked really, really cool.
That
and the guy's Tyrannid list that I fought against is a great guy to play against. Always is. Such a good bloke, good friend.
I would be lying if I said I didn't get all salty when I start losing.
Yeah.
Because I do. And I try not to. And I try and keep a smile, and I keep, it's important to try and make sure everybody's having fun.
And this army's not finished, but it's not a shit army either.
I think it's all right.
It's not every last detail done, but it's not horrible.
I would
it's
be
not being ashamed
very
of
happy
taking
to
it
field this on the table.
So yeah.
I think that's the important part.
And that was about a week and a half ago, and since then I've taken my base sprayed Eldar to a learning game where I've played a few turns of figuring out what the Eldar do, and I haven't really painted anything since then.
So what are your Eldar state at the moment? Have you made like 1,000 points to play with, or?
I've built over 2,000 points. I'm picking up a few units here and there to fill in extra holes. I've had I've played like the first 2 or 3 turns and then played another couple of turns just to figure out. The first game, I deployed the Eldar really far forward. It's just like, I've deployed these like I'm playing Blood Angels, haven't I? Yeah. I've lost first turn and all my armies got squicked. Yeah. Oh, shit. Second time I tried it, deployed everything as far back as I possibly could, did a whole load of jiggy, janky, shooty stuff, and it was much more successful, and then ran out of time because I had to go home for dinner because my wife was cooking roast dinner and I don't want to be late for that.
You don't want to be late for that.
Damn right.
Are you still using those weapons platforms?
That list had 3 weapon platforms with D cannons, yeah.
I think they're really strong.
I think they're pretty good.
The line of sight changes for indirect fire. The D cannon are like the one thing that kind of escaped that.
Just 2 things. The other thing that doesn't give a shit is all the guard.
Yeah. I mean, they're high strength, they're high AP, they're high damage, so the high AP negates the AP loss. The fact that they hit on 3s native, they'll go to 4s with the indirect fire nerf. But you can buff that with Guardian strats, and Ulthway Craftworld strats will give you +1 to hit, reroll 1s to hit, and so on. So, yeah, they're definitely useful.
How did you find I know I'm switching topics a lot, but how did you find your Venerable Dreadnought? Did it do much?
It didn't do loads, but it did some stuff.
Worth the 140 points or so it costs?
Yeah, absolutely, because it's sitting way far at the back. It was putting pot shots downrange. I didn't activate the buffs for hits or rerolls to wound any point because I was just using the CP for a few other things here and elsewhere. But it was a safe, tough, resilient, long-range platform to just put shots downrange. Absolutely happy with it. Would totally field it again.
Fair enough.
If it gives D6 +2 last cannons, it'll be vengeance.
It hits on 2s. It doesn't degrade. It's got damage reduction 1. It's got feel no pain. It's not expensive. Yeah,
I think they're all right.
No problem with it.
They're not too bad. And because you're using a ranged loadout, the lack of speed doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
Very true.
So that's been me for the past few weeks, which
Nice.
leads us on to
Sanguinius.
what Tony's been up to.
So, I know I've mentioned it. I'm moving house. It's been a bit busy. So the only real painting that I've been able to do is on stream. So the guy on the right, as you're looking at this, that is the original Yarrick model, and that's a little chunk of metal, that is.
Mm-hmm.
And we painted him over a couple of sessions for someone who wanted the kind of classic Yarrick colour scheme. So I literally found a picture of Yarrick and stuck it up and painted it.
Looks really good.
So he took about 3 hours, about 3 hours to do him.
If you've got Warhammer Plus, then there's an episode of a one-shot episode of Hammer and Bolter that's like 20 minutes long. That's got Yarrick
That's
in
a
it.
wicked
It's like
one as well, isn't it?
Yarrick's legend from the point of view of the Orcs, and it's a really cool
It's
episode.
really good. And what we were trying to do, I was just trying to match the original second edition art as much as I could, and I think I've done a reasonable job for that. In the time frame that I had, I'm happy with that. I think I could have done a slightly better job with the blend on the claw. It's not really that smooth. It's a little bit too harsh, but it's not too bad. I'm relatively okay with that.
Yeah, cool.
And then the thing on the left,
I've been wanting to ask what the fuck that is.
Right,
Since you sent me the picture.
it's another commission. And somebody sent me, I'll see if I can find the book. So there's a video game that came out, and it's called Iron Harvest.
Oh yeah.
And it's a strategy game, and it's quite nice. I've only had a very, very little go, and it reminded me a little bit of Company Heroes and that, except this kind of alternate history, and they've got these kind of diesel punk mechs and things. Anyway, and it was all based on the art of this, I think it was a Polish artist, and he did all these paintings, and then someone said, look, can I license it and make a video game on?
Put loads of steampunky stuff in it, did he?
Yeah, kind of. And in that art book and in that video game, there is this. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah. And this was the book that I was given. And if you bought this very, very special edition, you got a solid chunk of metal, which was the model, and it's in the game. So I was given the model, and I was given the book, and I was budgeted 2 hours to make this model look like this picture.
Okay,
and
pretty good.
I think I did all right, and there's another picture on the other side. I don't know when it comes out. But if you're looking through here, it's super, super grimy and rusty and war-torn. It's kind of like think Second World War.
War of the Worlds, doesn't it?
Sorry?
Feels a bit War of the Worlds in a way.
It does a little bit. It's but it's the whole kind of, it's been slogging through the swamps of what was Eastern Europe and is now a horrible mess for years. And so I was given, match that concept art. Here's 2 hours, here's the model, do what you can do. So this was, as we're recording this, last night on the stream. And I just went nuts, really. I was throwing random oil paints at it. I got all these dirty down weathering things at it. We've got pigments on it. I decided I was going to paint the entire model by stippling because I've packed all my stuff. But I happen to have my stippling brushes handy, so we got some of those out. So there's oils, there's regular washes, there's about 15 different brands of random crap.
I'm ashamed to missed as much of that stream as I did because I was only there for the last few minutes.
It was a lot of fun because normally it's all about, I spend a lot of time. So like to do Yarrick in the time frame, I had to really sit down with the old artwork, go through my paints, go through my products, and work out. I'm going to do this thing first. I'm going to move
very
into
technical
this,
and thoughtful.
and it's very technical, and it's all planned out. I even go so ridiculously anal as I line my paints up in order that I'm going to need them, so that I'm not wasting time looking for something and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Whereas with this one, it was everything's in boxes, and the guy was like, "Look, match that box art, but do the best you can in a couple of hours." So I went into it with basically no plan whatsoever, and I just sort of went nuts with all the random crap that I've got in my drawers.
Cool. Is he happy with the jobs? He's seen it.
Yeah, he's very happy. He sent me the picture.
Excellent.
So yeah, he's very happy. Apparently, he's going to send it to the devs for the game.
Excellent.
Oh, cool.
Which is pretty cool. I had a
Iron
lot of fun
Harvest.
doing it.
So was that a Kickstarter or was it a PC game? I've never heard of it.
PC game, yeah.
I think they've done consoles versions of it as well. I think I've come across them. I do work in the
Okay.
video games industry. Any opinions I have on video games is to be taken with a pinch of salt. I'm probably going to have professional bias, etc., etc. But I'm fairly sure I've seen it kicking around. I'm not
Do I have to
entirely
do a
sure how
disclaimer
it
then
did.
in that respect? Because I work in education, so when I call people a dumb fuck, then I
You-
should know about that.
You have the 3 Grots disclaimer that we have at the start anyway,
We
which
do, yeah.
we need to record
We
another
do.
one for, and I'll do that at some point. I'll write it and record it and submit it.
Everyone's
So
sick of hearing my voice.
Possibly.
Not really.
No.
Not us, anyway.
You're the
I
most
mean,
popular
maybe
Grot,
we didn't-
remember?
I mean,
I don't know if
you
that's
were-
true, looking at the views.
I was going to say, you were the favourite Grot, but now that Mark's unboxed
It's
that
Mark,
collector's
yeah.
edition, it's Mark.
Crazy.
So yeah, there we go.
Thank you so much this week for helping us reach 800 subscribers. If you are still here and you're watching this, we do really,
Yeah.
really appreciate
Cheers.
Yeah, that happened on the stream last night. We got our 800th
On the painting stream. That was very cool.
I was very excited about it because it
Yeah.
triggered off my alert thing that come up on the screen, and I wasn't sure it was ever going to work because I've never seen it work.
it. Oh, that's
We've had a
nice.
couple of requests for videos off Patreon subscribers, so we're going to see what we can do to fit those in the next few months coming.
Yeah, we've got a lot of learning to do to be able to do that.
Yeah, which will be fine. We'll do it. We'll cover them. If you get
Yeah,
value
fine.
out of what we do, if you like it, if it makes you laugh, or you learn a thing or two here and there, do please consider taking a look at our Patreon and chucking us a few quid every month because it helps us do what we do and keep doing
Massively
what we're
helps.
doing.
The episode today was based on the Chaos Space Marine Codex that
Yeah.
Mark's got in his hands at the moment, and that was paid for by our Patreons.
It was our first product provided and funded purely by Patreons. So thank you
And,
very much, all of
You know,
you.
you should be proud of yourselves because what you've done is you've enabled Mark to decide that he wants to build a Chaos Space Marine army.
Yeah, fuck you all. Hate you. Damn it. Spend another 200 quid. I don't. I'm going to fucking do it, aren't I? Oh, bollocks.
You know, but what legion are you going with? That's the important. What legion are you going with? Because we didn't discuss that. What's your favourite? You're the one that's got the book. We've all just been looking at things on the internet and listening to stuff. Which is your favourite legion? If you were going to build an army right now, it's your money, it's your army. You want to take it and play games with it. What are you going for?
Alpha Legion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nice.
I like the tricky, infiltratey, snipey, sneaky side of the whole thing. It just appeals to me.
I like the colour scheme, but
The colour scheme I'm dreading doing because it's going to take a lot
it's
of
easy.
work.
It's
to get
easy.
it.
I'll talk you through it if you want. I will,
Okay.
genuinely, this is something.
Is
Let
it-
us know in the comments
Is
if
it
you are
spray it
interested.
silver and then do a thin down Acalian contrast over it or
I
something?
would do it a little bit different, otherwise it would look a bit generic with some of the other people's ones. But basically, I'd use clear coats is the thing.
No,
Yeah.
okay.
But so an idea that's been floating around in my head, and you have to let us know in the comments if you want me to do it, is I've been thinking about, I do a lot of speed painting. You've seen me speed paint these things. About doing a speed paint for the 18 legions.
Wow.
I've got a lot of those Mark
That
6
would be
tactical
cool.
Marines
That would
floating
be cool.
around. So if people want me to try and do this is how you paint this legion in an hour, then
Yes.
let me
Yes,
know
I
and
want you
I'll
to do that.
start putting them together.
You should do that. That'd be awesome. Everybody back me up.
Um,
I want to see Tony do that. That'd be cool.
I just think it might be something that could be quite fun because I
And then
think
we
you
could
can
it for
do
the
a cool.
sub factions as well. You could do like all the
Yeah.
different craft worlds and all the different.
But it's that whole of doing
Tyranny.
it quickly thing because
High
there's loads
fleets.
of stuff online I've seen for
Yeah,
painting
exactly.
it
Yeah.
beautifully and very long-winded. But it was what's floating around in my head is knocking them out in an hour,
Time efficient and best results for time spent. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fair.
which is these days seems to be what I tend to do.
Yeah, no, it's what I do as well.
Awesome.
Didn't I watch you
That's-
spend like 8 weeks on a set of Terminators?
That's more because I don't get as much time to paint as I'd like to.
That'll change at
I
some
know.
point. I don't know when, but at some point.
At some point when the kids don't need me all the time, yes. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for creating tonight's episode, Mark. It was good.
Yeah, it's a lot of work and it's come out really well, I think.
My pleasure. Like I said, I hope some people get some stuff out of it.
And do we want to mention that we are going to do Tyranids in maybe
We
like
are
a
going to do
month's
Tyranids.
time?
It'll be in a few weeks.
Yep. Tyranids is a Patreon request that we will do. Probably not next episode.
Might be
Probably
the
the
Mephiston.
episode after.
Yeah.
Mainly because, as we may have mentioned lots of twice, Tony is moving, and Tony is currently the one with the Codex, and I've written this one, so he's going to do Tyranids. Which
So
means,
next episode is going to be all on John.
yeah,
Mhm.
because he's had weeks of holiday. He hasn't done shit for
Yes,
weeks.
he's done.
So he's
Well,
got to
you've
do
seen the amount of
something.
content we've been putting out.
Yeah, that's fair.
I helped with
Yeah.
some of this.
You did.
Um,
It would
All
not
right.
be the same without you, as always.
thank you. It's nice
You
to
know,
be back.
I was explaining there was a Top Gear analogy that came up the other day, and I was trying to describe. Someone was like, "You like Top Gear?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know, probably not as good as that." And then it was who's who and stuff like that. And you'll be pleased to know, John, that I described you as the Jeremy Clarkson of our.
Am I? So who are you then?
Well, I went with because you're the popular one, and you kind of lead things. You're like the leader of us all. You come up with all the ideas, and we just do things. You've got a successful solo career. We haven't got a successful solo career.
Jeremy Clarkson got a successful solo career.
Clarkson's
doing what?
Farm's great. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
And all
I'm
his
saying
books.
like he advertises Amazon Prime, but I mean I don't know how
He does
successful
all his
that was.
books. He makes a ton off of them.
Okay.
So I've kind of gone with that. That would mean then that Mark is the kind of slightly more sensible James May of the group.
Okay.
You know, a little bit left field, but generally fairly sensible.
Yeah.
Keeps us on track. And then
you're the-
occasionally just goes and does something really bizarre that nobody really understands. And that
you're the-
means that,
You're
yeah,
the guy who
I've got
gets into car crashes on a regular basis and wrecks
basically,
himself.
yeah, the kind of hyperactive, accident-prone one.
When we meet up, we're now going to have to all get some sort of way of jerry-rigging a camera to film us in the cars so we can just talk about like
This is going to go horribly wrong.
I was
Go
going to
for
say,
that.
and if I'm Jeremy Clarkson, I guess one, I would need to be more sarcastic, and two, do I not need to be a bit more of an asshole?
Well,
You've got one of those down.
Obviously, the analogy's not perfect.
It's not a perfect analogy, but it just made me giggle when it was kind of like thinking about it.
No,
Yeah.
fair. How long have we been rabbiting on for? Probably
Far
long
too
enough
long.
at this point. Yeah.
Long
Thanks
enough.
very much for watching. Cheers, everybody. It's always a pleasure. Have a
See
good
you on
one.
the next one.
Good night. Peace.